You did?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I bought that.
Nope.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
The Keurig?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
All right, here we go.
Oh, I'm going to put that down.
Ooh.
Not this time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
This is the comic book review show where we take books from the past week, recap and review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then, after we're all done with that, give you recommendations for books that come out this week that we think you should pick up that are coming out.
That's right.
Also, we'd like to make this a collaborative effort, so we will chat with people from the live version of the show, which is happening right now.
Yeah.
Live. Right now. It is cool weather season, and it is the I guess Halloween weekend. This was the weekend for you to celebrate Halloween because it falls on a Wednesday this year.
Yeah.
Which means, no one's having fun on Halloween.
No.
At least not a Monday. But whatever.
Yeah.
I see you're just joining us from Hogwarts.
That's right.
That's a fine wand you have there.
Thank you.
Looks very authentic.
It is very authentic.
Mm.
It's made of elder wood.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
That's right.
I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it means something.
It's
very
impressive.
But yeah, so we're going to be chatting with you guys live during the show, and in order to do that, that's where we use the super chats just to make sense of everything and keep everything very organized and and keep the lights on here in the studio.
Absolutely.
Let's jump into it. Today we're going to start off with I don't have the preview up, so I'm just going to talk about that first.
Okay.
This was Black Panther versus Deadpool. I wanted to get the credits, so I said it as I was writing it.
Yes.
Black Panther versus Deadpool is actually a book that was recommended to me this morning, so I read it.
Oh, good.
It is written by Daniel Kibblesmith. Naturally, if you're doing a cat book, you want to have somebody with a name that sounds almost like Kibbles and Bits. And the penciler is Ricardo Lopez Ortiz. This was an interesting story, I guess. It's just a big silly slap fight. It is a comic in which Deadpool accidentally maims Marvel Comics mainstay and postal delivery man Willie Lumpkin.
Oh no!
Yes, and he is going to die unless he has emergency surgery that involves vibranium.
Really?
Yes. So Deadpool needs to go to Wakanda and get some. He goes to Wakanda, he infiltrates the city. He asks King T'Challa for some vibranium, about the size of a bullet.
Okay.
So immediately, T'Challa distrusts him. Deadpool lays everything out on Front Street about what this series is going to be. He's like, no. First of all, we're going to have a misunderstanding. We're going to have a big epic fight. We're going to have a common villain.
Yeah.
We're going to have to team up to fight that villain, and then you're going to give me what I want. So why don't we just cut to the chase and you give me what I want? And T'Challa's like, no, I'm the standard superhero. I follow the tropes. You defy them. So then they fight. And so that's the story. And
at this point, why don't people just
skip
characters go like, okay, you know what? It's Deadpool. I'm gonna
just trust him.
Fine.
For me, the standouts for this issue are, that's what happens. The standouts for this issue are the art is cool. It's a nice. It reminds me of who's the dude who drew? Night of the Monsters during during that big event. There was somebody who drew that story, and I don't remember who it was, but it looks like a mesh of that style and like Scotty Young a little bit.
Really?
It's very it's like a sketchy, kinetic, youthful style. And it's good. It actually it serves the story well. The only issue that I had for me was that for the first half of the book, it's Deadpool, and then when he gets to Wakanda, either the artist decided to have fun with it, which most artists do when they're drawing characters who have full face masks and have no range of emotion. But it looks like either the artist took liberties with it or Deadpool actually did it. He drew a smiley face over his mask. And it was very distracting for me because I was not sure if it was real or not. And it was that kind of distraction where, like, okay, going back a long ways, Spawn versus Batman, for no reason during Spawn and Batman's fight, every other panel, Spawn's mask comes off.
Okay.
And I was like, what is happening? And there's no explanation for it. Nobody explains, like, why. And the plot doesn't really explain it either. And for me, it's just, what it turns out to be is just, it was so freaking delayed, and it took McFarlane forever. He just forgot what was going on per panel.
Right.
But in any event, it was that kind of distraction for me. And I'm like, why does he have a smiley face? It's funny. I got it. People seem to enjoy it, so I'm not going to begrudge it.
Okay.
The other thing for me was it was egregiously movie-tied. Deadpool addresses it, but not enough for me to go like, stop.
Okay.
T'Challa's been redesigned to look exactly like Chadwick Boseman.
Okay.
His sister is
Shuri.
Completely. Thank you.
I didn't realize. I was waiting for the rest of the sentence. I was like, oh, he wants the name.
Yeah. Completely redesigned to look like the actress who plays her, and also she was like de-aged to make her the age that the actress is.
Sure.
Also, his bodyguard is in it from the movie.
Oh,
Okoye.
Yeah, Okoye. I think she actually is a character.
I didn't know if she was or not, but she certainly is in the comics.
Okay.
And she certainly looks like the actress who portrays her in the movie.
Okay.
Very egregious.
Now, when they do that when they do a crossover, though, they tend to take more,
I guess,
liberties. You know what I mean? So
I will say the Deadpool fourth wall breaking references were very organic, and they worked really well for the character, and they do exactly what people come to expect from Deadpool.
Okay.
This is the kind of thing I would expect from an MCU depiction of Deadpool.
Okay.
Take that as you will. I think he is a little neutered, but otherwise Deadpool.
Right.
And he's whimsical, funny, fourth wall breaking, and it's everything that the pop culture landscape understands Deadpool to be.
Okay.
Even if it's not quite the Deadpool that you've been reading about for the last 20 years.
Okay.
It's a fine story. I'm not going to buy the second issue. I know where it's going. Unfortunately, Deadpool is so on the money that I already know how this is going to end up. And because it's Willie Lumpkin, you're not going to kill him in this stupid miniseries. So,
well, yeah.
you know.
Unless they do,
in which case that sucks. But either way, it's fine. It's a pass for me, but I get why people...
gave it a shot.
I gave it a shot. I get why people like it. And the art is very good.
Okay.
So I got to give it up to Ricardo Lopez Ortiz, who I've never seen before, and hopefully we'll see again in the future. So yeah. Jumping into the super chats before we transition to your book, Justin Beckford says, Wade drew the smile on the panel. Okoye is presenting Deadpool to T'Challa through the hologram call. By the way, just showing love. Okay symbols. Thank you. There you go. So he drew it during the book. I read it twice. I was like, I didn't see it, but either way.
All right.
So yeah, what do you got?
Just again, much like you're just touching on a book, I just wanted to touch on a book from DC that is a 5-issue mini-series. I'm not going to go in depth to it because I don't really feel like I can speak well to what's been going on in this character's continuity because I really haven't been keeping up with it. But I did check out Old Lady Harley #1 this week.
Oh yeah.
Written by I'm not going to type it in. I'm just going to scroll until I find it. It's and they have names, and they're real names. It's Thierry and Miranda, and I know I read it somewhere in the...
Frank Thierry.
Yes.
With art by Morissette.
There it is, I got it. No, it's Inaki Miranda.
Oh. Well, never mind.
It's a continuation from an actual Harley Quinn issue. I think it's like 40, 42 or something like that.
Oh, where they did an
Old Lady Harley book.
Okay.
Like a kind of just like So like this is a continuation of that, and so like they made it into this mini series, and it's like it's the future, and it's.
So is it a tongue-in-cheek like reference to Old Man Logan?
Yes, but it's really Mad Max too. Like there's a lot of Mad Max references to this, and I mean the more recent one. I guess really all of them. But it is very Mad Maxian in its design. Harley is in this book. Now for me, like I've checked in on Harley occasionally. I found in this book that she was like there were a lot of like quips or puns or jokes, and it was almost like there were so many of them that like it kind of lost its punch for me. You know what I mean? Like
it didn't
back to back to back to back, and I'm like, this is really like I don't like I get it. You're setting the tone, but it's like I got it.
Right.
I got the tone. Like we're good here. Like when you have so many of them, like. And one happens, like, if there was a tense moment and you had one, that's fun. Like, you know, ha ha ha, cool. Like,
right.
That's Harley.
They were supposed to break the tension in a.
Yeah, but if you're constantly doing it, you don't break
then there
any
is no
tension.
Then it's all just broken. Yeah.
Exactly. But there's a lot of world building going on, just an establishment of kind of what's going on. She's hanging out with Red Tool, who's like Inspector Gadget.
Okay.
He's got. I only say that because literally he has, you know, like Go-Go Gadget, like leg springs. The big reveal at the end of this book, for those who don't want to know, I apologize. First they battle a bunch of Azrael robots.
Okay.
Which is like
why?
Fine.
All right.
And then like Batman Beyond is there.
Oh.
And like so the next issue was going to have like Batman Beyond in it, or a version of that in this book. I don't really think it's for me necessarily. Mm-hmm. I get the concept.
Yeah.
Like I kind of understand what they're going for. Mm-hmm. I just think that they could have done a better job with it. I mean, like, Harley's the kind of character who, like, placing her in an apocalyptic future could really work.
Yeah.
And, like, you could have a lot of fun with it. And, like, were it more like Old Man Logan in the sense of, like...
Like, actually, like, tense and dark?
Yeah, like, put her in an actual, like, world where it's just like, here's the fallout from what happened, which is kind of what it is, but don't make the world a joke.
Right.
Let her...
be the joke.
Yeah, let her bring that to the world. Like, let the world be serious. Like... Old Man Logan manages to have a Venom T-Rex in it.
Right,
and
there is some
really
levity in that book.
Successful, you know what I mean? Even though it's a true threat. And it's like they didn't really, I don't know, like the world's just overall too like, that, I don't know.
Fair enough.
It kind of was a miss for me.
There you go.
Yeah. But I did say I would check it out, and I did.
For me, I said I would pick this up, or at least I mentioned it in our recommendations from last week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring it up now. The Infinity Warp's Arachnite #1 came out.
Okay.
Of 2. There are 2 books.
Some of them are, and some of them were 3.
Yeah. They said that this was going to be written by Max Bemis, but Max Bemis was like, I write Moon Knight to work through my mental health, and I'm also not doing Moon Knight anymore. I'm not going to do like a joke about Moon Knight.
Right.
So Dennis Hopeless wrote it instead, and to his credit, Hopeless is like a Brett Ratner type person, not in like terms of character, but in terms of like execution, where it's like, I need somebody to tell a story that has a beginning, middle, and end, and that anyone could write. Brett Ratner, will you make that movie? And he's like, yes, I will, and I can, and I'll do it in budget.
Okay.
Like, Dennis Hopeless, I need you to tell a story that has a beginning, middle, and end, and has some action in it, and you can balance those things. And he's like, yes, I can. Here you go. And they're like, thank you. And that's what he did.
Okay.
Would you like to see? Oddly enough, I will say this about Arachnite, is that it is the best way you can possibly tell a merged Spider-Man and Moon Knight. The funny thing about that is, he's got 3 personalities in his head, but they're all, like, arguing with each other.
Yeah.
And, like, one takes over. You know, he's like, okay, I need to be a scientist now, and the scientist character will take over. And then, like, if I need to be Peter Parker or whatever character his name is, like, you know, I'll be that character. And then if I need to be the Arachnite, I'll transfer him, and, like, it's the whole thing. But they're literally, it's like 3 characters are driving the car and they switch places every time.
Sure, it's kind of like Crazy Jane sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
And so in terms of that, it was actually pretty well executed. The art looks good. The story is fine. It's very standard. It's once again, it's just like, have you ever read a What If book? That's what this is.
So what's the name of the character? Like, what's his
actual name?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Like Peter Spector.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which way they'd go with it.
You know, Mark
like
Parker. I don't remember.
Okay.
It's so unremarkable.
Is Khonshu a thing, or is it like
no? It's the
amalgam.
It's basically if Anansi acted like Khonshu.
Okay.
But not even. You know, like, it's more like, instead of him getting bit, like, he visited, like, Aunt May and Uncle Ben are murdered by the Green Goblin, but he's, like, a Jekyll and Hyde type character in Central Park.
Okay.
And then he is visited immediately by, like, a spiritual spider that, like, bites him and is like, I will, basically says, you know, like, Mark Spector's left in the desert, and Khonshu's like, I'll bring you back to life if you be my agent. This was more like, hey, the spider comes to him and is like, I'll bite you and give you powers and make you strong again if you're my guy. And he's like, okay, I'm like an 11-year-old boy. That sounds fine.
Sure.
So, like, you know, and the idea is like, who's the goblin? It's Norman Osborn.
Right.
Peter works with Harry.
Sure.
He has, but like, and it's funny because if it were, if Dan Slott didn't write Spider-Man and did like the whole Tony Stark thing, this would be like, oh, this is kind of novel. Look at Peter Parker running a company, making inventions, doing all these things. But that's exactly what we have here.
Happened.
So it's like, so it's a combination of like stuff I've already seen, stuff I could have imagined already.
Right, but it's not meant to be a what if. Like, this is supposed to be an amalgam.
But it is a what if.
They kind of are, but like most of them are just meant to be like, it's the what if they were together, and like, so it's meant to like kind of follow their history.
Right, except that we just did a what if where what if Peter Parker became the Punisher.
Yeah, I know.
It's literally the same idea.
Yeah.
The design of the Arachnite is good and bad. Like, the hood plus spider cowl idea is neat.
Okay. Do you want it as a Spider-Man skin for
right.
the game?
Well, here's the thing. Even if I want it or not, it's coming anyway.
You don't know that. I'm just saying.
That's an alternate
kind
Spider-Man
of,
costume. That will happen forever. That's there. I can never be undone.
I guess.
I can play as the ends of the earth spider armor in the game. I'll get the Arachnite one day.
Yeah.
But like as you can see, the Goblin is literally just the ultimate Goblin from Ultimate Spider-Man. So it's like
I guess it really is like an amalgam of like multiple Spider-Man properties and
I guess Moon Knight too. It's weird. It's not great, but it's very fine. I think it's actually a little better than the What If Punisher Spider-Man book that just came out a week or two ago.
That's good. That's something.
So like, but at that point, but why? Like at the end of the day, my question is why.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fine. It tells a little. If you're looking for like a one-off or a two-off in this case, it's fine. Like, and you'll enjoy it. If your feet are held to the fire about it, it's like whatever. By the way, I also forgot to mention the pencils are done by Ale Garza.
Okay.
And Garza has a very like Ed McGuinness style like temperament to him.
Okay.
So that's cool. And it's consistently drawn and it's like a fun what if style book. That's what they all are, but this one didn't bring anything new to the table. Didn't blow my mind. By the way, I don't think this was actually from this week, but I should address the super chat from last week. Gibson Bradfield said, best place for Batman to live if Gotham disappeared. I guess Bloodhaven.
Yeah, all right.
Just to address that super chat.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like, you could just...
Yeah, just like, well, this place sucks too.
Go to Coast City.
Right? Yeah, and they should do a book where it's just like Batman USA, and it's just Batman going to different cities. And just horning in on other people's territories.
Exactly. Until they're finally like... You have to leave.
You have to leave.
You can't.
Basically, just finds him a city and gives it to him.
Yeah.
He goes like, "Here you go." And he's like,
you
"Oh,
have
it's perfect."
to stop. Yeah.
And Grievous just says, "Arachnite looks like a merge of Ben Reilly and Moon Knight more than normal Spidey and Moon Knight."
No, I
big
agree.
time.
Yeah,
it's basically because Ben Reilly's suit, especially the Scarlet Spider suit, is just the Spider-Man suit but without the webs. It's just red.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fine. Ultimately, my problem with Infinity Warps is this. Marvel has clearly an internal memo that says no crossovers. Like, we're not doing any crossovers with anybody anymore ever again.
Yeah.
But people who work here remember Amalgam, and people who are reading this and are spending a lot of money on our books remember Amalgam. And rather than like go across the street or send an email and share some money that might be double the money I would make right now, but I have to split half of the double, I'd rather keep all the money and just recreate Amalgam, but without DC entirely. Can we replicate Amalgam, but without the premise that makes Amalgam special?
Right, yeah.
The answer is kind of, because anyone will buy comics. So, like, it's
right.
For me. It's a representation of Marvel like refusing to get on to play ball with everybody.
Yeah.
Marvel's insistence that they're not only like special, but that they're so singularly different from everything else out there, even though they are very much not.
Right.
So there you go. By the way, Tiffany's outfit that I called attention to but didn't actually address. This is actually your Halloween costume.
It
is
is
a straight up
legitimately...
Gryffindor costume. You got your wand, your Gryffindor colors and everything.
Yeah.
Plus a little secret.
I do.
You want to show them your secret? Oh, Tiffany's a Death Eater.
Unsurprisingly,
yeah.
I am. Nobody. To stay in the realm of these
warps.
Yeah, I actually read Soldier Supreme #2 this week, which is the last one for
Which you kind of dug the first one.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept, and like for me, it's only a pickup because Doctor Strange is involved, and I'm like, I kind of like the idea of playing around with like origins, and I'm like, that's cool. Would I highly recommend this book? Yeah, I mean, like, it is written by Jerry Dugan with art by Adam Kubert. Kubert, which is like it's a treat. It's really enjoyable to like check out his panels and his takes on just the books in general.
Yeah.
So basically, last time we left Stephen Rogers, Soldier Supreme, he was in the midst of World War II. Wong had died, but was a ghost and had come back, and Dormammu Red had sent him into the Dark Dimension. And that is essentially their take on him falling into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, he misses out on all the rest of the war.
Oh, well, he's in the dark
trapped
dimension.
In the dark dimension.
That's cool.
And, like, through being in the dark dimension, he learns to grow stronger with his sorcery. He learns how to fight. He learns how to be, like, a sorcerer soldier, basically. He learns, like, how to astral project, the whole thing, like, while being there and being on his toes.
By the way, this is issue 2 of 2, right?
Yeah, this is it. So, he ends up like fighting his way through, and then like he sees that there's like this beacon of light, and like everything from the dark dimension is scrambling for it. So like he like mounts a centaur, and it's just like ride or die, man.
Right.
Like you're either gonna bring me there or I'm gonna kill you, because they're all racing for it. And like the centaur is this moment where he's like, this is the most humiliating moment of my life.
Right.
And he makes it there first. Obviously, he like gets out, and like it turns out it's a bunch of Satanists who are trying to bring forth Satan.
Oh, well, that's what
under the like tutelage or like leadership of Mordock.
Oh god, so it's Baron Mordo and
Mordock. Yeah, it's mental organism ritually designed for the occult. And
I think they have more fun designing these names.
Right? And like I hate MODOK, but like it's a great looking like version. It's hilarious. It really works, I think. Mm-hmm. It's so funny because like they do like these tiny little nods. Like Dugan does a really good job of like having almost a move the car George moment, but it's only a panel.
Okay.
And that's it.
One panel, that's
totally,
where you make the joke, but it's not quite.
It's the joke, and it also fits with Stephen Strange in a sense, because like it's one of the occultists or Satanists or whatever is a woman, and she's just like, oh, I didn't expect Satan to be so handsome.
Oh, okay. There he is.
And I'm like, that's fun, that's cute.
Yeah.
But what happens in this book is like clearly like they're like, okay, Soldier Supreme's going to be in the final fight.
Right.
So, like, in Infinity Wars. So, like, we have to finish up and get him there and, like, show him how he's going to get there. Mm-hmm. So he ends up, like, basically astral projecting or spirit walking into Mordock, where he discovers that Mordock's actually two beings in one.
Oh,
and he's
so he
like,
sees...
oh, crap.
So he's like the Doctor Strange fate of the amalgam.
Yeah.
Or the Infinity War.
Exactly. And he ends up getting the eye of Agamotto instead of... like,
oh, it's Odin and Agamotto were merged?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he goes back to like the current time period, and like they debrief him and all that stuff, and then like we see him kind of like in a Sanctum style thing, and like Mordock had like threatened to be like, will you turn it on yourself to see what you are?
Yeah, who you are.
Because like Mordock's like, I'm out of here, things are going real bad for us. And that's when he hears a cry out from Emma Frost, who's just like, we need soldiers and we need them now. Like,
yes.
we need warriors.
That's
and
part
he's
of
just
Infinity
like,
Wars.
he's like, not to worry, Steven, like, Rogers is on his way.
Yeah.
And like, so he leaves to go and like fight in the Infinity Wars.
Okay.
So like, this was really just a wrap up of like, being like, here's how we're gonna like work in the like,
the main story.
Well, because it's like World War II. How do we get into modern day? And we're gonna use.
It's kind of clever.
It is very clever. It is more clever than an idea like this really deserves. Where it's just like, this is so silly, but like it works. Like I said, Adam Kubert's art is really fun.
Yes.
I like seeing his take on like Doctor Strange, and in fact, I really don't like the helmet that they put on him, but I know it's a very Captain America style helmet, and so we actually get to see him without it, and like I'm just like, Adam Kubert's really good. Like he's just really good at drawing people. So it was fun. Is it like you got to read this? It's a tie-in, essentially. This especially is a tie-in. But if you're a Strange fan, this is kind of fun to see how like if Doctor Strange was more of a physical fighter, versus being a spellcaster.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. The Red Samurai asking, Sal, would you consider dressing up as the birthday boy from Batman Earth 1 to scare or pull a prank on Ben? If so, please film it. If I do a scare prank on Ben, you can bet your boots I'll film it, but I will never dress as the birthday boy.
We'll just hire somebody.
Yeah, I actually know a guy. We saw him at the Halloween party we were at last night.
Ben, don't watch this episode.
Don't worry. So yeah, this next book comes to us from Nick Spencer and Humberto Ramos, naturally. We're talking about Amazing Spider-Man, number 8. This is continuing the Nick Spencer tradition of doing Spider-Man now. Yeah, well, because like we always
the long history,
the long 8-issue history of Nick Spencer writing Spider-Man. This issue was really good.
Really?
And
because I haven't heard you say that.
No, it's been very standard.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes.
It's been fine.
Mm-hmm. But
really
this is
good.
really good. It was the most Spider-Man issue that he's written so far.
Okay.
We're establishing status quos. We're addressing the things that he set up. We're finally paying off some stuff. Peter Parker and Mary Jane are on a date. Not really a date, but it's better than a date. It's not even like they're at a fancy restaurant. Doc Ock attacks. It's not Doc. I'm just saying, like, these are the standard expectations.
Sure.
No, they're at like a farmer's market in the city, just being themselves together.
Okay.
And then, basically, there's like, and I don't know if it's connected to this guild. I hope it is. Basically, we established that like the Guild of Thieves has become this like huge, and it's like been around forever, and everyone who's like a business mogul or has any like money or has earned their keep through ill-gotten gains has to pay their tithe to the Guild of Thieves.
Really?
And so we see that by them making an example of some like business tycoon. Okay. But we're setting up that the Guild of Thieves is going to be a main force of nature / antagonist for Spider-Man soon.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And so what they did was they're like, the reason why things are so hard for us is because of superheroes. They're annoying and they're everywhere. So let's steal from them. And so basically the Guild of Thieves works like in one day and steals everything. So like Thor loses his hammer, his new hammer.
Okay.
Mjolnir's gone, obviously, but like his hammer gets stolen. Iron Man's armor is all stolen. Cap's shield is stolen. Like everyone's stuff is gone, and everyone's screwed. And so Tony calls Spider-Man, and he's like, "I need you to all hands on deck at Avengers Tower."
Yeah.
And this is where Nick Spencer establishes like Spider-Man's not an Avenger anymore.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, and also nobody likes him. And
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, no one would anymore.
Right.
But Mary Jane does, and we're also establishing with her, she gets a subplot. Thank you. She's like, what am I gonna do for like a living?
Right.
My Stark severance package is gonna like run out eventually.
Yeah.
But you know, I was a nightclub owner. I was an executive at Stark. I was a supermodel. I was an actress. Like, what am I gonna do now?
What can she do?
Right. And I like the idea of them establishing like her future. For me, like go back to being an actress because like that was always a fun subplot, and acting has so much tumult, so there's a myriad opportunities for you to come up with that. Anyway, so Stark calls up Spider-Man. Spider-Man eventually swings into action, and when he leaves Mary Jane, someone else shows up at Mary Jane and says like, "Oh, he's always doing this, isn't he?" And you're like, "Oh, who could it be?" And so I think it's connected to the centipede blue guy. There's this there's this blue centipede guy that's like, meh.
Okay, right.
So, anyway, Eye of Agamotto's stolen as well. I know.
You can't just take... No.
Well, they did.
No.
Also, I don't like...
It's a really weird strange.
It's a weird
really weird strange.
They even steal all of Punisher's guns.
That's like a combo of things. It's bizarre.
I know.
Anyway.
But we're establishing like their far reach, you know, how deep they go. But anyway, so Spider-Man jumps off a building and he's going to webline his way away from it, and he realizes that they stole his web shooters.
Does he not do a systems check before he takes off?
Well, it's just a dude in a suit now. He's not like, Peter Parker, Tony Stark ripoff. That being said, he would feel them on his wrists.
I meant like that kind of systems
when we were setting up him jumping, I'm like, he's gonna have no web shooters. I see where this is going, but at the same time, like, okay, but I'm having a good time.
Right.
So he is plummeting to his doom, and he's about to like right himself when Black Cat shows up and rescues him, and then she slashes into him. And she's like, "You and I have unfinished business," and that's the end of the issue. And it's like, oh my god, this felt like the most like a real Spider-Man comic. Also, Black Cat's in her classic costume.
She really is.
Thank you. Like, and not because I didn't like the old suit,
right?
But I think it's an attempt by Spencer to say we're going back to basics.
Yeah, the background on that image is kind of bizarre, but
well, it's Ramos and he's
weird.
rushed, so
it's fine. It's like I'm like, okay.
It's just nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a color.
It's
a favor. I was actually in a previously recorded episode of Elseworlds Exchange, which was coming out on like Wednesday. By the way, I had no live episode of Elseworlds this week. It's going to be a recorded episode that we did this past weekend with a special guest, a pair of guests actually.
Yeah.
Who worked on a great selling comic book. So stay tuned for that. But they were like, they will give their artists like a pass sometimes where it's like no background.
Oh.
Like you don't have to use a background today.
Okay.
Just do color. Just use a blur effect. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably what happened in this case. But anyway, it seems to me like it's Spencer coming to the audience and saying like we're going back to basics.
Right. Okay.
So I'm on board, particularly because like no one's been interested in doing anything with Black Cat, and it's kind of like hard to tell what she's up to.
Yeah.
Like she was a kingpin. Then like when we first opened this series, like the new series with Spencer, like she was with the heroes, but like nobody knew what the hell was going on. She was just there to do a Bye Felicia joke.
Yeah.
So like maybe whatever, but anyway, she shows up and she's gonna kick ass. And I'm down. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, like, I'm down for ass kicking.
I'm down for this. Like these are all characters from Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery and like supporting cast. Let's use them.
Yeah.
He has one of the richest supporting casts in Marvel. Use them.
Yeah, that's true.
And also like maybe put all the toys back on the shelf. Like maybe make J. Jonah Jameson like publisher of the Daily Bugle again. Like maybe do a few things.
Sure.
Give Mary Jane a job.
Yeah.
Make her a character at the very least, please. So I dug it and I recommend it. Pick it up.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. If by the way, if you've been on the fence, you can start with 8.
Okay.
Like all you need to know is Pete and Mary Jane are back together, and even then you'll find out when you're reading the damn book. So check that out. Moving on to the super chats, if we have any. I don't remember if we do. Yeah, Mr. Roboto says, "Hi Sal, are you a Gotham City imposter Batman?" Yeah. Remember that?
I also noticed some people were saying you kind of look like Greg Capullo, like you were dressing up like Greg Capullo.
Yeah. What's up, brother?
You need sunglasses.
I do need sunglasses, and I need to change my goatee. Plus, I'm not buff. I'm just big. He's really dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so what do you got next?
Staying in the Marvel region. I really didn't know where that was going. I kind of just failed on my transition there. The Century number 5 came out this week, which was the end of this mini series, and we'll see what happens next. So it's the end of Century World, so part 5 of 5.
That's it.
Yeah, this is it. So if you've been reading this, you haven't read it, I am going to spoil this book. So
Okay.
I want to mute us for a minute or so. I'm going to totally spoil it for Sal, because you missed it. You missed it!
That's fine.
So I'm just going to tell you.
It's the nature of my job.
When last we left the Century, Bob Reynolds had embraced the Void. And basically combined with him to make this red and black version of the Sentry, who's like super powerful. And he is still fighting Billy.
Yeah.
I'm like Bob, Billy.
Right.
Battlestar
Galactica.
I'm like, come on, brain. So basically, in this, we already kind of knew, and it had come to a head, like, what Billy's true intentions were. It was really less about, like, the Sentry, like, not being in control, and more about, like, Billy and, like, missing out and not getting his chance at, like, power or stardom or anything like that. Like, he was brought into this world, and he really shouldn't have been.
Right.
And then, like, it all fell apart. Like, there was no support system for him, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Scout had nothing for him.
No, it's true.
So, like, he really lays into him, and he's just like, it's not fair. I finally got the power of the Sentry, and you had to one-up me? No. And he tries to just start pummeling him. And Sentry grabs his hand and, like, shatters it.
Oh!
So, like, he has no arm on the other side, and
God.
now his hand is broken. And, like, he's just like, no, don't you get it? You should have never had power. Like, some people are meant to have power, and it's not you.
Like Billy?
Yeah.
Like that's what Bob's saying to him?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the Sentry. He's like, no, it's not. No, you don't get it.
Right. Like, you're not cool.
It's never you.
It's never gonna be.
Right? So then, like, he lets loose, like, his, like, or not, like, or Scout does. Like, he lets loose, like, a laser, like, blast kind of thing, which ends up, like, melting his face.
Okay.
Because he really can't control it. Like, he's had it for all of, like, a few hours? Like, I don't know. So, they kind of, like, the Void, like, lets, like, out, like, some of, like, the blackness, and, like, for a moment, like, it envelops them, and it's, like, he and Bob talking, and he's just, like, Bob then is just, like, we weren't meant to have this power.
Right.
And he's like, oh, and you were? He's like, I was.
Yeah.
I am meant to have this power, Billy.
Right.
And he's just like, and like,
I ripped Ares in half.
Face is like melting. His arm is like like the flesh is just melting off his body. And he's like, it's the power of 1,000 exploding suns. And he's just like, Bob's like, I know. Let me take it back from you. And so like he reaches out his arm, and like Billy reaches out his like arm that he has left basically, and he grabs it, and then Bob grabs Billy's neck, and he just like kills him. And he's just like, let me take it back. There. And so he kills him, and like not only are like people like looking on to this, but like the Avengers show up.
Oh god, yeah.
And like by the Avengers, I mean like a team of superheroes. It's not really the Avengers because it's Iron Man and Captain Marvel and Thor, Captain America, and She-Hulk, and also Misty Knight and all of her guys are there.
Yeah, that's the Avengers. That's a team I'd like to see.
Right? And they're like, hey Bob. And like Captain America's like, you're gonna have to come with us, and he's just like, oh, are you recruiting me for the Avengers? He's like, not quite. So like they all like leap into action, and like none of them can stop him.
Yeah,
he's the Sentry and the Void simultaneously. He's too powerful for them. Like it's not gonna work. And you know, during the fight, he all of a sudden like it's just like, argh! And like he's like, wait a minute, because he left Cranio,
right,
who's like in his head still trying to like get control of this whole situation. Like where it's like for a moment the bad guy is trying to do the right thing because this is a hot mess.
Right.
And so like he ends up pulling like this new Sentry into his own mindscape. He's like, you're gonna pull me into this prison? You think that's really gonna work? And he ends up like punching him so hard it like shatters them being in the mindscape and like brings them back out into reality where he's like completely like destroyed him. Whether or not he's alive or not is questionable. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jenny, by the way, was in the crowd, so she saw everything go down, and so she runs up to the apartment and she's just like, Bob, is that you?
Yeah. And
he's just like, it is. Hey, I'm really glad you're here. And she's just like, get away from me. You're a monster. You killed Billy. And he's just like, you know, in another lifetime, we could have been something else, but I guess not. And then the rest of the superheroes show up, and he's just like, so you can't beat me? He's like, I know you think you're here because, like, you're not going to let me go, but, like, it really is you just can't stop me. So you're just going to have to let me go.
Right. And
they're like, what, entrusted you're going to do the right thing? He's like, pretty much. And then he just leaves.
Okay.
And that's it.
Wow.
Like, there's this crazy Sentry out there, and they're like, we're going to find out what he's going to do, I guess.
Okay.
And it's just, that's it.
Jesus.
I'm like,
all right.
And by the way, when I say he leaves Earth.
Oh, okay.
It's just like, nah.
Okay.
It's me and the Void now. We're pals.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Right? It's kind of interesting, like, just to leave this looming thread out there, whether or not Lemire will do any more. I honestly don't know.
Right.
I'm sure people have been questioning whether or not this series will be an ongoing.
Yeah, maybe he'll join the Asgardians of the Galaxy.
Right? I kind of almost prefer him just being a thing out there that everyone will kind of forget about until they decide to do, like,
until someone has a really good idea with him.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he'll come back and they'll be like, oh.
Yeah. I'd love to see, like, an Annihilation type story with the Sentry at the core.
Right?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I love it.
So, interesting.
That's dope. That's, of course, written by Jeff Lemire, with art by Joshua Cassara.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Yeah, definitely. It was a wild ride.
Yeah. And finally, in terms of... Oh, yeah, for me, anyway.
Well, hang on. Yours is an actual, like
all right.
Big 2 book. Just real quick, very, very briefly. If you've been reading Cold Spots, that came out this week. Go pick it up. It was a lot of fun. If you were reading it, it's just as good as it was.
Good.
We're just getting a little bit more deep down. We actually get to see a little interaction between father and daughter in this issue, and just very interesting, like, what they're building up here of, like, clearly our protagonist is the only person who is, like, sane.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or, like, he's a normal person in a crazy world.
Right.
And, like, at every turn, he's just totally out of his depth.
Yeah.
But, like, he is, he's going to get his daughter out of there, basically. Right. Come hell or high water. No matter what it is that she is or isn't, it doesn't matter. He's going to get her out of there.
Okay.
Again, it's Cullen Bunn, so for me, that's awesome.
Yep.
Also, this week, Books of Magic.
Yeah.
Came out. Now this is Books of Magic is a Vertigo book that I'm familiar with it, but like haven't.
No, it wasn't your series.
But it is continuing from that, is my understanding. So if you were a fan of Books of Magic, pick it up. I guess it is written by Kat Howard, but with Neil Gaiman having like kind of approved their story.
Yes,
since he was the one.
He's the case with all of those.
Yes,
right?
but he wrote the original Books of Magic. You know what's funny? I was looking it up. You know who was meant to write it?
This one or the last one?
No, the original.
No.
J.M. DeMatteis.
Oh my God. That would have been awesome. I mean, the fact that Neil Gaiman wrote it probably is even awesome.
Yeah, but DeMatteis was meant to write it, and then a whole bunch of like shifts happened with the artist, and then DeMatteis backed out, and they let Gaiman write it.
DeMatteis is a good writer and has a really good handle on magic.
Yes.
I feel like he'd do a good job with Books of Magic.
Right, and then like it just kind of reminded me just how much like it's really easy to use Timothy Hunter in both the Vertigo and DC world, and you don't really see it being utilized because he's had crossover with so many characters who are magic based.
Yeah.
And including like this opens with like these kind of interesting like tapestry versions of like Constantine and like, you know, like various other characters and such. And it's just like, right.
Yeah.
You've like really,
you've been around.
Yeah, you've been around. And they're just like, no, we're not going to really. No, it's fine. And I'm like, you'll remember him now, writers, and like start using him again. But yeah, it's just kind of reestablishing where he is right now in the world based on the decisions he has made, and just kind of for those who weren't aware of it, trying to fill in the gaps of what has happened, and also setting up what will happen. I think they did a very nice job of that. Cat Howard tells a really competent story. Now, whether or not it fits with the same sort of feel from the last book, let's be honest, it's not Gaiman writing it. He's a very specific style.
Yeah. And I haven't seen a new Gaiman book in a long time.
Right. And then for those who are mentioning it, this came out. Books of Magic came out before Harry Potter did.
By a long shot.
By a long shot. So
draw your own conclusions. Yeah, he is a boy wizard with a funky haircut, glasses, and a scar on his head. Take your own ideas
whatever you
about
want to
what
go
you
with
think
that.
is all about.
And he's also like he's meant to be the most powerful magic user of all time.
Yes, wizard, you might say.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go. And finally, last but not least, this book that's like whatever, but Return of Wolverine #2 came out. This one was still written by Charles Soule, but this time the art was done by Declan Shalvey, who's done a great job overall.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed he's on this book.
Why?
Because it's not quite the Steve McNiven.
Okay.
Like, the grandiose nature of McNiven's art lent itself to the death of Wolverine in such a profoundly high caliber way.
Okay.
Like, Death of Wolverine, I think, might be one of Steve McNiven's best looking books of all time.
Really?
And the first issue of Return of Wolverine, which was also drawn by McNiven, had that same gravatas.
Right.
This one just felt more like a comic book, but they still wanted it to have the feeling of like, but we're doing this thing.
Right.
Wolverine and a scientist who claims that her son has been stolen by an evil clandestine organization that brought him back to life. They're chasing the bad guys in a boat the whole issue.
Okay.
And that's it. They don't catch up to them. That's the whole book. By the way, like, is it engaging and fun? Yeah. The idea is here that like Wolverine is still trying to like get in touch with like who he is. We've established a new status quo for Wolverine where like basically they're like tongue-in-cheek referring to the fact that like Wolverine has had like a million different interpretations, and so all those interpretations are in cells locked up in his mind. And so this like blank slate Wolverine will walk around the cells and unlock a certain Wolverine and let him out depending on the situation.
Kind of like Arachnite?
Yeah. Well, no, Arachnite is there's people and they all know about each other. These are like
right, but like like when you need them, they take control.
Yeah, it is only like it's more like Dreamcatcher.
Okay.
So like the first person he unlocked was Hero Wolverine, like clean cut, yellow and blue suit.
Right.
Not an X. He's an Avenger. He knows what to do. He's the right guy for the right job, and he like smiles and he makes good puns, and he's like a superhero.
Right.
But there's also other versions in there, and then there's like memories that are locked up within those personalities and within those versions of himself that also need to come out.
Right. Now, are there any like ones that they don't want to?
Yeah. There's one that like rattles against the cage the entire issue, and that's Berserker Wolverine.
Okay.
The Berserker Wolverine is just this desperate, like hairy monster.
So
it's just like
with no nose.
Yeah, well, no, it's not quite that bad. But he's like one day, like he's like, come on, let me out, and like Wolverine's like, no, and he's like, one day I'm gonna come out.
Yeah, well, and
like,
clearly, yeah, what's gonna happen is they're gonna have to.
Yes, we also are establishing that like the forces that this like evil organization. No. I told you. But the evil organizations that are the agents that they're using against Wolverine are clearly just like remnants from his past. The two characters that they sent, the two characters they sent after him are Omega Red and Daken, or at least reanimated corpses. I don't know, but like when Wolverine sees the tattoo on his assailant's arm, he's like, I know him, but he doesn't quite know him. This is a mixed bag for me because I don't like Daken.
Right.
But in any event, so he's fighting against the like Daken clone zombie thing.
Whatever.
And as he's starting to lose, his claws get hot. And we see the first emergence of his hot claws.
Oh.
You can even see them, like, burn red within his forearm, which also kind of depicts, like, where his claws go. Like, they go into his forearm.
Well, I assume. Like, where else would they go?
Right, but, like, sometimes they curve. It's a mess. But I will say, Shalvey does a good job in this book establishing how straight his claws are and how, like, his forearm needs to be at a certain, like, levelness in order for them to come out. It's just a little note that I noticed.
Oh,
usually,
okay.
Usually if Jim Lee's drawn them, it doesn't matter. Just blah.
Yeah, they're like organic almost.
Yeah, like, but this is like, no, like, and I don't know if he has bone claws anymore. I think they might just be like these metal knives. Either way, they get hot, and he uses them by cutting the fuel line with one claw, and then shooting the fuel line through his hot claws to burn Doc alive, which is cool. The mother of the kidnapped boy tries to make out with Wolverine, and then they arrive.
And he's just like, yeah, you know what it is, though? You're not a redhead.
Basically. But don't worry, because a certain redhead has finally discovered him using Cerebro.
Oh.
It's Jean Grey. She's like, oh, I found Logan. Of course, the person that Jean talks to about it is Kitty Pryde, thus establishing, like, the two, like, most important females in his life, if you don't count Jubilee.
Right.
Which, of course, nobody does.
Aw.
I know. It's sad, because for me, Jubilee was the Kitty Pryde character.
Yeah.
It was Kitty Pryde, and then Jubilee was for, like, the next generation.
Right.
And so, they don't get armor either, but either way. So,
exactly.
It's fun. By the way, she also says, like, he goes, did I ever have, like, hot claws? And the scientist is like, no, you did not.
That's a new development.
That's new, and it's kind of dumb. And he's like, yeah, it is stupid. And you're like, okay, I see what's going on here. You're doing something. So we'll see. Who knows? The hot claws, not complaining. I don't care. I have no problem with it. Especially since Soul was like, it's going to go away. I'm like, oh, well then I'm just going to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, it's cool.
So,
Did you see, though, this week that they re-released The Return of Wolverine #1? It's a director's cut edition.
Yes.
It is $10 and 152 pages.
Wow.
I'm like...
Yeah, somebody sent that to me.
Really?
I think it might have been Marvel, but I don't remember.
It
but like,
includes
I got
the
it.
script, inked pages, color pages, and a cover gallery.
Yeah, I read it and I looked through it. It doesn't really give me much more insight, but it is fun to see how Charles Soule writes the script.
Right.
And it gives you insight into what there are scenes that are like that have no dialogue, and especially for the first issue, but they're amazing. But like where you're like, what's Wolverine thinking? Charles Soule tells you what he's thinking in the script, so to help put that. Have McNiven put that into the pencil work.
Nice.
So that's really cool. So those are the books that came out that we think are cool, that we think that we reviewed,
or that we had time to
talk about. And now we're going to transition to the next part of our show where we recommend books.
I don't know.
All right. So before we begin, I wanted to not recommend this book. Man of Steel is getting a trade paperback or a hardcover release. So the miniseries that convinced me that Bendis couldn't write Superman is coming out. So if you want to not buy it, I highly recommend you don't, because it's awful and terrible and boring and stupid. And Rogol Zaar features heavily, so definitely don't pick up this book because it's just really, really bad. And it is a definite harbinger of things to come. There are a lot of people who love what Bendis is doing with Action Comics and Superman. When the book comes out, which is very sparingly, it's kind of neat. But it's not? Man of Steel. Just really awful. If you want to get more of our opinions about that, we reviewed, I think, every single issue on this show, so go back and check out those episodes. But don't buy the book, don't recommend it, and don't support that series, because all it says to DC is like, yes, we made the right decision. So don't pick that up. I also want to recommend
an actual recommendation.
Also. No, and this is Extermination #4. The book is so good and cool, and it's definitely going to get rid of those young X-Men. So like, if you hate the young X-Men, get ready, because they're going away.
They're going to be exterminated.
Yeah, they're going to be exterminated. That's what the extermination is all about. It's a great series. The art is terrific. The writing is fun. It feels like old school classic X-Men shenanigans before they officially get into the like full-blown Marvel endorsed X-Men shenanigans. It's written by Ed Brisson, art by Pepe Larraz. Pepe Larraz is like the new Stuart Immonen as far as I'm concerned. Definitely pick it up. It's really cool.
Okay.
I also, I guess, have to recommend this book because it's kind of neat that they're doing it. I read like some of the last issue, and maybe I'm just not an Aquaman fan. I don't know. But Justice League Drowned Earth #1 comes out. it's like a mini series, I guess. It's called
Okay.
Justice League Aquaman Drowned Earth #1.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know more about this Drowned Earth situation? You got to check it out. I will, I guess. That's all I have to say about that. It's written by James Tynion the fourth, with art by Howard Porter.
All right, maybe I'll check that out because he's been really doing a great job.
Yeah.
On Justice League Dark. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Heroes in Crisis #2 comes out.
Okay.
There's been a lot of discussion about this series.
Yes.
Clayman's art is fantastic.
Yeah.
The story is questionable. But, you know what? I love an old school, good old-fashioned DC murder mystery. We haven't had one of those since Identity Crisis, and clearly the same people who were in the editorial positions back then are still in their same exact jobs now.
Yeah.
So they want to do it again. So if you like stories from like 15, 20 years ago, here it is again. But with different characters, and the characters that the main people who are in charge of DC think need to die, they are dead now. So if you didn't like those characters, great. If you did, sorry. Because those people will still be working there another 20 years from now. So, get used to this. But that being said, it's interesting. I was actually reading a scene from this book in which they're doing an autopsy on like a character that like a handful of people care about. And, they're talking about how, like, Sanctuary was this place where people, like, get over their trauma. And, like, hey, wouldn't it have been neat to actually seen a scene where Batman goes there and, like, tries to get over, like, being paralyzed and going across the world and, like, getting his back fixed and everything? Like, that'd be neat. Let's not see that. But let's allude to the fact that happened. Also, Superman, like, I died. What's all that about? That'd be neat to see. Probably not going to see that. But they talk about how they established Sanctuary, this place for heroes to, like, get over their shit. And they talk about it's Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, and they're like, so who killed these people? And Batman's like, I don't know. Sanctuary is designed to be anonymous. Like, people give their confessions and then they're immediately deleted. And Superman's like, yeah, but we all know that you're backing them all up on hard drives for weaknesses for people. Like, we know who you are. And he's like, this is a pet project of mine that matters. I'm not like that anymore. I don't know who killed everybody. Like, I didn't do that. And they're like, damn it. We were really counting on you to be a son of a bitch, Bruce.
Oh, sure. Grow a conscience now.
I know. Like, how convenient. But the fact they did that, I'm like, wow, that actually felt like Tom King read a DC comic. So, like, that's kind of cool. And also, in keeping with Wolverine, Old Man Logan #50 comes out. They're killing Old Man Logan.
He had a good run.
He had a good run. It's him versus the Maestro. It was a good-looking preview that I read.
Okay.
And so if you are on the fence, like, check it out. See where he goes. I don't know if they're going to kill him or send him away. I have no idea what their plan is. But it'll be sad. Because, like, this poor son of a bitch has been, like, dragged through the mud forever.
Yeah.
His whole premise is misery. So, like, if you like that kind of thing.
If you're in a misery.
Yeah.
Woo!
Pick up Old Man Logan, #50 by Ed Brisson.
Excellent.
And Ibrahim Robertson and Andrea Sorrentino.
Okay.
So what do you got?
So actually, I do have, like, you're going to transition to want to know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wanted to mention that up until November 1st, Comixology is having a horror sale.
Ooh, a horror sale.
So it's not like
it's
everything.
not like a fire sale, though.
No, it's not everything. But there are some interesting pulls on there. I actually picked up Joe Hill's The Cape, the one shot that led into like a huge thing. Read it today. Super interesting. Super duper interesting.
That's cool.
And like looking forward to seeing where that goes. I'm sure most people know about this already, but the idea is that like a little boy grows up with like his favorite blanket. Mom turns it into a cape. And somehow it has like magic properties and makes him fly.
Cool.
But like he and his brother used to play superhero, and like one day like he fell out of a tree because like the cape let him fly for a moment. He panicked and he fell, hurt himself really, really badly, kind of screwed up his life because of that. And like it's all about like his like fall from grace essentially. And then like he finds the cape again, puts it back on, and at that point he's just like, we see some crazy stuff happening, and he's just like, when I was growing up, my brother and I used to play superheroes. He always made me be the villain.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh. So that one shot had led into a bunch of other things, but you can pick it up right now. Like the one shot each issue is like 99 cents.
That's cool. Wow.
So it might be worth checking out. You can also see what other horror things they have right now. But again, it's only until November 1st, so you got a few days.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd give it a shout out right now to that.
Sure. Also, Lane Works and Super Chat says, it's high time I support you guys. Thanks for the hours of entertainment. It can't be easy, and we know we love you. Thank you so much, man. That's very nice of you. It feels easy when you're doing it, and then you like have to edit it, and then it's not.
Yeah.
But like even then, sometimes it's like, you know what? Sometimes it feels easy and it ain't. Like we did a back issues, and I was like, ugh, I sucked at this episode.
I'm sure you did.
And NB Gleason, hey guys, is there going to be any My Hero Academia? No. Or any He-Man Thundercats or Justice League Power Rangers. Those, probably more likely.
Yeah.
And by probably, I mean 100% more likely.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm not sure. He-Man Thundercats is a stretch.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody would be interested in that. I have been reading some of the He-Man comics.
Yeah. Are you 40? Maybe you'll like that episode. Like,
Yeah,
it's hard.
I don't know. We don't know.
And Justice League Power Rangers, more likely.
Yeah, that's an easier sell.
I heard that book got terminated early.
Hmm.
So they didn't really get the chance to tell everything they wanted to.
Hmm.
It'll be a good testing ground for Power Rangers, but like it's Boom Studios books, so nobody's gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, like look at our
knows?
New Avengers Transformers episode.
Right.
Like, sorry. So yeah, what else we got?
So this week, a while back actually, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale did a bunch of Halloween-based stories that took place in Gotham with Batman involved with them. It is not Long Halloween, but it's a series of them. There's like 3 of them, and they're actually collecting them and re-releasing them again.
Yeah.
So, and they're fun.
They're fun.
Like it's got, I think, Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, Poison Ivy's in one of them.
Yeah.
And I love Tim Sale's Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah. You got to tell him that.
I
at New York Comic
did,
Con.
and he was just like, that was a mistake to do that. He's like, it's so, like, he's like, I drew it as like a one, like, off image, and then I had to keep drawing her. And there's all those leaves, and I had to hand do them. I'm like, oh, but it looks so good. So,
yeah.
so if you're looking to pick that up as a collection, you'll be able to grab that on the 31st. So then this week, there were like literally 2 books where it's just like, hey, Tiffany, you've been waiting a long time for this. A long time.
Yeah.
Doom Patrol number 12 is coming out this week, guys.
Did Gerard Way finally finish writing it? Jesus.
So, like when I spoke to Nick Darrington at New York Comic Con, he did say more was coming, and like that he and Gerard Way wanted to do more of this book, but Gerard Way, according to him, was living the rock star life right now, so he must have been doing something else. Also, don't forget that Umbrella Academy is coming out as a Netflix show, so I'm sure he's also kind of
like producing that.
Yeah, he's probably involved with that. But yeah. Doom Patrol number 12 is coming out this week.
Yeah, that's weird because we didn't get a copy. Hey, DC.
Well, I don't think that they're bothering with that anymore because it comes out so infrequently.
Yeah, that's fair.
What I love about this is A, it took me completely off guard, and B, clearly this cover is just an old D&D manual.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. It's just brilliant. I cannot wait to read this.
Right?
Cannot wait.
No idea what the hell it's going to be,
No.
But
And then the thing that I'm probably the most excited for, Witches, the big bad egg, or the bad egg, not big bad, the bad egg, they're going to be putting it out.
Yeah.
So like essentially it's a Halloween special. They've been putting like this out a few pages at a time within Image Plus. They're collecting it all, and I think there's some extra stuff in there as well.
There is.
Written by Scott Snyder with art by the amazing Jock, who is such
So
a
great.
friendly British man.
yes.
It's just,
I looked him up a while ago and I didn't tell you. Like what
I
he was
didn't
gonna
know.
be.
Like I assumed he was gonna be this young hip guy, like whatever, and like not that he's not like hip.
No.
But like it's just this pleasant British man. I'm like, you draw the scariest things ever.
Yeah. Well, that was like, it's funny. It's like you would flip Bermejo and Jock. Like I did not expect Bermejo to look the way he looks.
Yeah. All right, that's fair.
He's like young and buff, and he just kicked my ass.
Yeah. But yeah, so
But Jock just like looks like somebody's uncle. He's like, hello.
So nice, and I just kind of like verbally threw up on him when I met him at New York Comic Con. But he's such a pleasant man. I cannot wait for this book.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for this book.
Yeah.
It's
gonna be great. I hope. I mean, well, you read most of it anyway.
Yeah.
So pick that up. So there you go. What else is happening on ComicPOP that we should recommend or let you know that's happening? First of all, Good, Bad, and Ugly returns this week with obscure Marvel characters, which is a great show. I love doing it, and it's hard to make, so check it out. And, I guarantee you've probably never heard of at least one of those characters out of the 3 that we did. What was the other thing? So like I said, early special Elseworlds Exchange. I gotta go run an errand, and it keeps me away from my computer, so I can't do the live show. But there will be a recorded episode of Elseworlds Exchange released on Wednesday, probably in the morning, to leave some time for back issues to come out. And our Halloween back issues comes out.
Yeah.
Because Halloween is a big, bad holiday for us, and so we like to celebrate it in style.
Yeah.
So you get to see us in costume. You have a totally different costume.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready, but when we shot that.
No.
So.
But it's fun.
It's fine.
And I think you're really going to enjoy it.
I hope so.
And we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping to record another special bonus Elseworlds Exchange tomorrow night, of all times. That's
No promises.
I can't promise.
happen.
And if you want to know more about it, join our Patreon. Go to ComicPOP or to patreon.com/ComicPOP. You'll get early access to back issues and other like behind the scenes photos and other like early access videos when I finish them. Back issues did not have a back. I did not have like a good buffer, so like for a while I was like kind of screwed up.
Like
Yeah, but we're back on track, so you can catch some like early back issues there, and maybe I'll also tell you who I'm hopefully going to be talking to.
That'd be awesome.
You've already seen the Elseworlds Exchange if you're on the Patreon, by the way, the one that comes out on Wednesday. It's already there. So
just real quick, in terms of that Halloween back issues that's coming out, stick around to the end.